Hi, everybody. Welcome to TA Innovation Hive. This is our podcast series, and today I'm excited to be joined by Olly Rawlinson and Becky Foden. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hi, everyone.
Pretty good, thanks. Good to be here.
We're going to do some intros in a moment, and today I'm excited that we're going to be talking about early careers strategy, which is a vertical of TA, which is, I think, close to everyone's heart on the call today. So without further ado, Olly, would you like to just let everyone know a little bit about yourself, what you do, what your background is?
Yeah, of course. So, hi everyone. Great to be here. So my name's Olly. I've been in the student recruitment industry now for coming up to about 7 years. I did 3 to 4 years at Accenture, working as their data analytics recruiter, but then their sourcing and attraction lead. And in my current position, I work for EY as the senior manager looking after assessment and selection and candidate engagement. So as a very broad brush, I look after a team that sets the strategic direction for our assessment selection strategy, make sure our assessments are working the way that they are meant to, and keeping a lookout for any adverse impact, whilst also just setting the general strategic direction and engagement with our assessments provider. Alongside that, I also look after the candidate engagement team, and that's very much looking at kind of all the different interventions that you should be making in the candidate journey. So that's all the way from right at the start of the funnel with the talent pooling strategy, that early engagement and digital capacity, all the way through to supporting and helping candidates throughout the process to prepare for their assessments, all the way through to the tail end. So that's for those that we've offered into the business, it's making them feel work ready, they know about their business area, and are excited to join the firm. The last section, which is one of the more exciting, well, all of it's exciting, but one of the bits I find most exciting is we have a section on transformational projects. So that's looking at the way that we work currently as a student recruitment team and thinking about how we can transform and what types of work we can put in place to make sure that we're constantly leading the market. Yeah.
Fabulous. That sounds awesome, Olly. I mean, Becky, you need no introduction, but for those who don't know you, it'd be great just to know a little bit about your expertise. You've got a wealth of expertise in this area, so tell us.
Yeah, hi everyone, and it's really good to have Olly, who's a complete legend in early careers. I know because I used to work with Olly at EY. So I'm here today to talk about my experience in early careers, and in particular, I've been working on a tech firm for Join Talent, whereby I'm looking to help this company harmonise its global early careers strategy. So it's a really interesting role and a really interesting brief, and obviously presents lots of challenges as well. And similar to Olly, I've got lots of experience across TA and generally for large organisations, which include banking, tech, professional services, and now with this the technology client. I've also got a lot of experience around candidate experience and developing innovative strategies to really attract and identify and retain talent. I think that's one of the biggest challenges around the student market right now, with the different types of approaches that are needed to really appeal to students. They are not as loyal as they used to be pre-COVID, owing to the acceleration of digitalisation. We see, actually recently I read that there are 6.4 million students around the world that have actually left their domestic country to work overseas, right? So we are tackling a cadre of people, of young people that are really mobile. So it's really interesting to face into some of these challenges. And also, I would say that I'm a results-driven business pragmatist. So whilst innovation is really important, and we need to really shape those immersive and exciting experiences, we also need to make sure that we are bringing the right quality and of talent that have the right profiles and attributes for future success. So really great to be here today, and really looking forward to this discussion.
Fab, and I'm Rob Devlin. Like Becky, I've got many years experience of working within the TA space, more recently in healthcare, global healthcare businesses, where I've worked to develop and diversify talent pools, specifically around early careers. And most people will know healthcare businesses in particular are facing really acute challenges over talent supply. So becoming increasingly important to have a robust early career strategy. And also, like Becky said, interestingly, I'm seeing many more clients switching their focus to international recruitment as well, both experienced and early careers hire, to make sure they've got sustainable recruitment pipelines in place. Today's conversation, the Innovation Hive, obviously we love to focus on innovation and talk about the ways in which we see these areas moving forward. And one area where we're already seeing quite a lot of innovation as a result of the current market conditions is in candidate experience for early careers. So the first area of discussion, really, Ollie, it would be great to get your thoughts on this. So, what do you see in terms of the expectations of early careers candidates around candidate experience, and what advice have you got, or around innovation in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's firstly just to frame the student recruitment market in different, how it compares to the experience hire side, because the two are have very different processes and also very different expectations in terms of the candidates, the Gen Z cohort we have coming through to what might be expectations of more experience market. So I think primarily for student, we are very much a volume-based process. For thinking about EY or your Deloitte, your KPMGs, your Accentures as an example, you are dealing with thousands of applications. I think last year alone for EY, we saw 85,000 applications for 1,800 roles. So it really is, you are dealing with a lot of candidates, in short. And within that process, those candidates still want to feel like they are engaging with a human, that is a human-centric process, that they have very clear and easy to understand and to follow sort of transparent process. They are gaining throughout that time insight into the role. And at the end of the day, they're also getting a timely response to their application. They don't want to be making an application, not receiving anything back, and then waiting months and months and months before they actually receive anything in terms of confirmation. And this is all whilst including as well, like those candidates that might need adjustments within their process, making sure that it's easy for them to request those, and making sure that we as a student recruitment function are able to build that in and ensure that for those candidates. So if I think I had like a chief recommendation out of all of this, it's making sure that you as an employer making really quick or time to offer, so an efficient process. You are thinking about when do you want to have those human touch points and when do you want to ensure that automation element. And what I typically advise is that you restart the process with more automation, but actually as that candidate progresses through the process, you have strategic points where you can engage and you can support that candidate as much as you possibly can. I think also as well, like making sure that as that candidate moves through the process, they're learning as they go. So in the student recruitment process, you typically have an online assessment, an assessment centre, and a final round interview. So especially at that first step, at the online assessment, you want to make sure that whilst we are assessing candidates against the role criteria, they are also learning about the role that they've applied to. They are learning about the company. And as they progress, by the time indeed they get to the final round interview, they know exactly what they've applied for. They know about the company, about their purpose, and that they are able, much easier to be able to kind of communicate to the employer why they want to work for that company and why that role might appeal for them.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You make some great points there. In terms of what you've seen around the innovation of candidate experience, I love what you were saying there, Ollie, about having the right blend of automation and human touch. Obviously, AI is a really, really hot topic. Has that been a big area of innovation for you in your current role at EY?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's one piece of work that I'll point to as an example. Actually, we did with Becky when we were working together at EY, which was the online assessment package that we did for our tax and for our tech consulting stakeholders. So at the time, we had essentially some legacy online assessment packages, which had been in place for some of the region for a couple of years. They didn't really tell much about the role to the candidate. In fact, they were pretty generic. And actually, what we were assessing candidates on, the core strengths, were actually, again, like out of date. And I think we were hearing very different opinions, both from our business stakeholders about what they wanted to see as the candidate coming through to what we knew that assessment was actually assessing them on. So we went straight back to the drawing board. We did a job analysis process in collaboration with our assessment provider, Capfinity, to really understand, is our assessment process really setting candidates up for success? Is it finding and sifting out the talents that we really want to see? And is our candidates happy with the process? Do they feel that they are learning about the role? So after that analysis, we then designed an online assessment package, which was really that sweet spot that you want to have anywhere between about 50 to really 60 to 70 minutes in duration, that brought in recorded videos and interviews with existing members of the business. So with them really explaining a bit more about what excites them about their role, perhaps some of the challenges that they might expect, but also those really exciting pieces of innovation that those candidates might not have seen from those early stages within the process. We brought in an updated assessment packages within that. So thinking about the tech consulting package as an example, we removed the antiquated numerical reasoning test, and we actually brought in something that was slightly less numbers heavy, but more relevant to the role. So it was a potential to code assessment. And we just made sure as well that the video recorded element, so where candidates talked and recorded their reasons for wanting to work for the role, that actually we made sure that those questions were inclusive, but also that they were asking the types of information the business really wanted to see. So those candidates that we were then progressing through to the assessment centre, we as a student recruitment function were really confident that that talent was the best talent that had applied and gone through that process.
Great, I love it. Becky, what are your thoughts? What are you seeing in terms of the trends around innovation in the CX space?
Well, I think that first of all, we need to think about the evolving student expectations. And so what I've seen, and I saw this in former companies, but also in the current company that I'm supporting on now, students are way more discerning when it comes to future employers. And so from their first year at university, they expect companies to showcase career paths, offer immersive experiences or value-added experiences. And they're also interested in employers that can demonstrate a commitment to purpose. So it could be citizenship opportunities, whether it's volunteering, sustainability, employability skills, and also diversity. So, and apparently there's some data as well that 78% of students in some way throughout their university career will have some type of experiential learning. So for me, employers need to really think about what they can give to students throughout their university career. So not just thinking about, okay, we're going to advertise jobs in a very transactional way to postgraduates. By that point, you've actually lost out on all of the best talent, because all of the best talents will have been recruited way earlier in the first or second year of their degrees through much more strategic internships or summer internships or work experience type programs. So, for me, companies that stand out will be the ones that are value contributing and really focusing on the candidate experience. With COVID, we saw a significant shift in candidate quality and job readiness. So, and whether that's in the UK, that was reported that students were 3 to 4 months behind academic milestones. But if we also look globally and we look at India, for example, you've got 1.5 million engineering graduates in India at the moment, but actually only 10% of them are being employed. And there's another statistic that says that 55% of students in India are just not job ready, right? So employers have to do more in this space, and candidate experience, shaping experiences back in the university environment before they're even ready to apply for jobs is going to be crucial. And I think we're seeing that more and more.
One question that I got for both of you in regards to the experiences related to feedback. So, Olly, it strikes me that you're dealing with vast quantities of applications. It is like a huge high volume machine that you're managing. And I know that one of the key indicators of a good candidate experience is that the candidate feels that they're able to get feedback, or, that if they've moved through the process, that's something which I know can be of high value to candidates. How do you manage that, and how do you approach it? Do you see a shift in terms of expectation around feedback? Tell us more about that part of the candidate experience.
Yeah, of course. I think that, there's two instances within the process where a candidate can request feedback within EY's process. So you have once at the online assessment step, which is after a candidate's completed it, they will either receive, unfortunately, like an automated comms to say they've been unsuccessful, or indeed they will progress to the next step. So it is, to be frank, it is very challenging to be able to provide that human tailored feedback to candidates that they really want to see. They want to know exactly how they failed and what they could do better for next time. So we've worked extensively with our provider Capfinity to make sure that the way that candidates are assessed, or where they might not be successful or where they come just short, that we can provide a automated but tailored feedback report which is sent directly to them, which can give them as much guidance as possible so that they are set up for success for next time. As they go through the process, the number of candidates progressing through does gradually reduce down. So for those that, let's say, are silver medalists, which are unsuccessful at EYX or the final round interview, it does mean actually we can have a little bit more time for those candidates because they've showcased themselves as really the second most promising talent within your pipeline. So for us, we try to make sure that those candidates have time directly with an interviewer just to talk through their feedback in a bit more detail, maybe where they could look to improve and some feedback points that they can take on into the future. I think it's also worth noting as well that we are looking at a particular new initiative that is really just to help us make sure that we're supporting that talent that are falling out of the process, both the silver medalists who fall out to interview, but also those bronze medalists. So we're going to be launching an initiative called the Work Readiness Journey, or internally known as No Candidate Left Behind. And this is essentially a 6-month journey where we're going to be really disseminating candidates useful hints and tips, guidance on their interview, how to approach interviews, any general career guidance, just to make sure that really over that 6-month journey that they are really looking to upskill themselves, and to Becky's point that she made earlier, making sure that they are becoming as career ready as possible for their next application. And I suppose selfishly, in the standpoint from EY, when they get to the end of that 6 months, they've reached the end of that reapplication wait time. And actually, we can look to really bring that talent back into the process, depending on where they've fallen out, to see actually, are they ready again to make another attempt at rejoining their application. So very much in the early days, but we're really excited to see kind of how that will do with candidates.
Sounds great. And again, I think what you're describing there is where you're starting to lean much more into the strategic approach to squeezing as much value out of that pipeline of candidates as you possibly can do. And Becky, I wanted to pick up on a point that you raised in your earlier response, which was around having this more strategic mindset to early careers and engaging people, even as early as year 1 or year 2 or year 3 in their academic journey. I wondered if you could share your thoughts again on, what does innovation look like in this space where you're really trying to inspire and engage people at the start of their academic journey?
So I've got insect flying here. It's a great. I'm really excited about Nobody Left Behind, Olly. So that's fantastic, and it's credit to EY actually for taking that initiative forwards. And so I think for me, we've got to be in the shoes of a student and think more like the generation. So a Generation Z, and the alphas are coming, and they'll be in the workplace in the next 4 to 5 years, right? So we need to think with a much more sort of digital type mindset, and also to think about some of the key drivers at the moment. We know that 1 in 4 young people have mental health challenges. That's reported, and it's a global crisis. We know that they're a digital nomadic, that they also want portfolio type careers. And we also know that they want to join organisations that have this deep sense of purpose and where there is that kind of mutual values alignment. So in terms of the student experience, it's really trying to weave in those authentic experiences. We don't want tokenistic experiences. If you're an organisation that is not values or purpose driven, then you don't all of a sudden want to pretend to have those types of experiences. But it's weaving in the authentic experiences into the student journey. So for example, if we're thinking about, the university, tenure, you've got year 1. So year 1 for me is around, thinking about how you can provide, work experiences, whether that is digital work experience or whether that is in-person or a virtual work experience. So I think many organisations struggle with this concept of work experience because they feel that it has to be a physical work experience lasting a number of days. A definition of work experience could be a 1-day overview of your business, and it could be virtual, it could be digital. There's a really great platform called Forage, whereby you can have a complete digital work experience and develop talent pools for the future, or it can be an in-person type work experience. So depending upon your budget, on your locations, requirements, and also perhaps some of the ED&I drivers that you might have, that might help to shape the kind of work experience strategy in year 1. And then year 2 is then linking that to, thinking about that year 1 work experience talent pool. How do we get some of those converting into year 2, into potentially a summer internship or an internship program? It doesn't escape me that the big global giants like Microsoft and Amazon, they're converting about 80 to 90% of their interns into full-time positions. So it's really important to offer meaningful internships. That's where you're really linking the training and the development and upskilling. But it's also, internships should be used as a strategic intent. It shouldn't be for immediate role fill or to satisfy operational requirements. It's really around where are the skills gaps within an organisation. Are there critical skills that we need to look for? Is there an ageing workforce? What kind of problem are we trying to address? And then to think about your longer term talent strategy. So for me, it's really bringing really great experiences that are authentic to students on campus much earlier, but also connecting that to a vision or a strategy that is solving a specific need in the business. And I think that's how you get authentic experiences. For me, like, the authentic experience is really important around the point about rejection as well, and giving feedback. Well, I would argue that if you have a really great recruitment experience from, plan, attract, source, assess, onboard, then candidates should deselect, before they're even rejected, because it's not the right role. Are they applying for the right role? So for me, if you've really, giving great realistic job previews in the attract phase, where candidates can deselect or perhaps redirect to other opportunities whereby they will be more successful, then you're giving a much better experience, enhancing the success of that candidate. So it's really thinking things through strategically and in the shoes of the candidate, which Olly has already talked about.